Previously on Dashcam Hull.
Red oil light. Then yesterday it just conked out in the middle of the road.
I got towed.
Oh, this tests your fucking forearms, doesn't it?
The Mazda presented even more problems on pickup.
This car's really starting to test my patience, you know.
And the MGHS rental I had also decided to die on me.
It's one of the most torturous driving experiences. Why are you doing that?
I then took a break from YouTube for a month, and in that time I heard quite a lot of fuss about a certain Swedish brand of car that I should check out. What's up, drivers? Today we're doing a little bit of car shopping. This kind of thing, I hate it. I hate car shopping. Yeah, I'm very nervous. But anyway, we'll go have a quick browse of the rest of his stock, because he's not expecting me for another half an hour yet. So we'll go have a browse at what else he's got. You should absolutely be crawling underneath a car that you're going to buy to see what condition it's in. It also helps to know what a crap condition car looks like. So I'll put some photos on screen of what you do not want a car to look like underneath. Climbing under cars to inspect them when car shopping is something I started doing after I discovered that my TS2 had, no doubt, a falsified MOT. I inspected the underside of a bunch of this dealership's stock just to get an idea of their pricing and condition of their vehicles. After I'd inspected almost every car that Meridian Motor Vehicles in Louth had, I felt rather confident that they had pretty high standards. However, during my inspection and test drive of the V60, I noticed that when you hold the car around 1k revs that there's quite a loud vibration coming through the steering wheel. Is that normal? I don't know if that's normal.
2 hours later.
Okay, so I'm now back home. I did test drive the V60. If you hold it at around 1k revs, there's kind of like a plastic rattling that comes through the car, like through the steering wheel. So obviously I want that sorting out. And obviously crawled underneath it, took a bunch of pictures. I'll put those on screen now. Honestly, a lot cleaner than how my car looks underneath, and my car's a fair bit newer. There's kind of a bunch of real tiny little scratches and scuffs kind of all around the bodywork. But for a car from 2012, that's to be expected. There is one scuff that's a little bit bigger than the others on the front near side, which I have asked them if they'll paint that. So I have left a deposit. I'm more than happy with the condition of it. It seems like a really good find, actually. Guess we'll see a few years down the line, because I'm certain I felt this way about the Mazda 3 that's now just rotting on my driveway until I can palm it off on We Buy Any Car.
3 days later.
Today is a sad day. I thought I was gonna have this car for another 6 years, at least. Painful fucking decision. I think it's just safe to say, fuck old diesels and fuck Mazdas, to be honest. Yeah, I wasn't gonna go Mazda a second time, but this car really captured my heart. I was struggling to keep up with how much it was costing to repair as issues were beginning to pile up. But then to start having pretty serious issues that require being towed, that's curtains for me. You know? The car's got a serious problem with something to do with the oil and the fuel. And I'm over it. I don't want to keep getting towed. I don't want to keep throwing money at this car. Usually when I change cars, I do a whole like and dislike video about them, but this time I felt that would simply be overshadowed by its engine problems and the stress it's been giving me recently. That being said, here's some brief things I like about it. It's a very comfy car. Even after the 20 hours straight I was sat all laid in it for my world record road trip, not once did I ever really suffer from any back pain. From when I first sat in it, it don't matter how you sit, you're comfy and you like what you can see. The car looks good. It has some pretty flashy features, my favourite of which is this heads-up display that rises from behind the steering wheel. I mean, look at that, man. How can you not be in love with that? It doesn't flash like that, by the way, that's just a camera problem. And finally, something I probably rely way too much on is what I like to call ADHD mode. It has a setting where it auto-locks if you walk away and forget to lock it. Having ADHD alone makes this a strong selling point for this car. Just for balance, some things I don't like is how the cabin has noise cancelling so you can barely hear the engine whatsoever, and how the boot was constantly a portable swimming pool. I did eventually fix this after installing some extra rubber on the boot trim and sealing up the light fixtures with caulk, as that's where the dry traces of water led to. Since I sealed these up, I never had the problem again, but good luck to whoever has this car next when you need to change a rear bulb. I am currently sat waiting for my We Buy Any Car appointment. I've never done anything like this before. I don't actually even know anyone who has. I have just asked in my Discord to kind of get a feel for what this might go like. I've not bothered cleaning the inside really, because apparently they care much more about the outside, so I did get it washed this morning. I might not even sell it. You know, if they really insult me with the price, then I'm free to just walk away with the car. I don't want to do that. I do just kind of want this headache to be over with. Right, I'm going to make some predictions on what I reckon they're going to knock me down for, right? You can tell that has been repainted by me. I didn't do a bad job, but they're going to knock me down on that 100%. There is some stone chippings I've repaired myself as well. You can just about see them there. This is the biggest thing they're going to knock me down on, is because the motor in this has gone. So it was just flapping in the wind, so I've had to secure it with VHB tape and super glue. I'm sure they're going to love that. Lost a little bit of paint on the door here that I've also repainted as well. That's a dent I've repainted before, isn't it? Yeah, so there's a few things they're definitely going to knock me down on.
20 minutes later.
Well, hopefully this isn't the last time I see her, but she's their problem now. Yeah, honestly, that went a lot better than I expected it to. The inspection was like 15 seconds of the guy walking around. He spotted the bit on the door. He didn't even spot the mirror. So I thought, well, I'm not going to try and pull wool. I'm going to tell him about the mirror. He didn't care about the mirror. Yeah, I think it was 13 minutes and 28 seconds that just took. So, yeah, the guy was friendly, fair. He offered me just over 100 quid over my minimum, so I was like, well, I'm not going to bother bartering. I could have maybe swindled an extra 50 quid for the full tank of fuel, but then he'll just ask, well, why have you filled it up if you were going to sell it? And that just asks more questions, doesn't it? Which I wasn't really prepared to answer. But nah, yeah, I mean, it's one of them. The car might run amazing for someone else for years and years. I wasn't prepared to roll that dice. You know, I don't do enough long journeys or the miles to really warrant owning a diesel. Would I recommend We Buy Any Car? Yeah, just expect to get at least a third of what you've been offered knocked off when you show up. But of course I went into that knowing that was going to happen. I was just hoping it wasn't going to be much more than a third, and it wasn't. Cheers Jason from We Buy Any Car. Really appreciate it. Meridian Motors kept their word about repairs, so I now drive a 2012 1.6 petrol Volvo V60 Ocean Race import from Japan. It's packing 212 brake horsepower, does 0 to 60 in a little over 7 seconds, and has a top speed of 143 miles an hour. But there's just one problem, and it's me. I'm inside. I'm outside. I'm inside. I'm outside. I've never driven automatic before, and I'll be honest, I'm not very good at it. My biggest problems are pulling off without jolting, and I find reversing even worse. Who better to help me out with this than the UK's most famous driving instructor? Please remember to like and hype this video, by the way, as it helps me out a ton.
Stick it forward and just reverse it into that shade next to the tree.
Okay.
Liz is going out again, didn't realise she was going out again.
Right, no worries.
Put your seatbelt on, you swear.
That's going in the video.
Can I just stick my seat back?
Yeah, of course.
That wasn't me farting, mate, promise.
What's up, drivers? I'm over in Liverpool today. Ashley Neal is going to see how woeful I am at driving automatic.
To be honest, you were pretty good last time I came and said Hull to come and see you, mate.
See, that's what I'm worried about.
What is it about driving the automatic that you said, or you think that you're having difficulty with?
Well, we might see here. Sometimes when I pull off, it's good. And like then, sometimes it's a little bit shit.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
I did... Oh.
what that was.
Nope, it's all right. What I'd like you to try for the first little bit, and you can practice here with the brake, is that the initial press in the pedal, I'd like you to be conscious of being as light as you possibly can, and then feed the power in.
Okay.
So rather than waiting till the cars go and then sort of like, I wouldn't say stomping on the pedal, just try and anticipate them moving and get to the pedal as lightly as you can first before then application and squeeze.
Okay.
And that usually smooths things out a little.
Something that Ashley taught me when he came to Hull was where to put my heel so that I only have to pivot my ankle and hip to change pedals. Time to fine-tune that.
It may help you just to shift your heel back a bit and have your toe a touch lower on the pedal, just a smidge. Try that. So Charles has only just moved it that much, and you will still be able to get to the accelerator from there. So reduce the brake, lightest, earliest touch. No, it's the car.
It's the car, is it?
Yeah. It's the gearbox.
Right.
It's just one of the characteristics of some cars sometimes.
There's sometimes where it feels like the harder I press it, the smoother it sets off.
Boot it then everywhere. But the Volvo rides sweetly, mate. I must admit, it's why I went for the SE spec on mine rather than the R design.
Yeah.
Because you've got the full leather seats as opposed to the different colour leather that they tended to do in my model.
Yeah, they are very comfy seats. I mean, I like to wear shorts a lot.
Yep.
So that's not too great for like leg sweat and stuff, but if you're eating KFC or something, the gravy just wipes straight off the seat. It doesn't it doesn't stay in there, do you know what I mean?
Good effort.
Here I make a bit of a driving boo-boo, but if you ask anyone from Liverpool, they'd probably say I did a great job for being an inconvenience to a Delta taxi.
We rock it here in Liverpool with the driving school cars, you know. Ah, you messed up here, Charles. Failed. No, only joking.
I shouldn't have come in, should I? I should have
Hey,
walked back there.
You're alright, it's not a problem, mate.
We then give the famous double roundabouts a go.
See, that was super smooth, that one. I wish I knew what I was doing to get it super smooth every time.
I just think sometimes it's probably where the transmission finishes and where it starts off from. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'd just take it as though it is the car. That one was less smooth, but it was still okay.
Yeah.
No issue. See, they're not that difficult really, are they?
No.
No, piece of cake.
I mean, I've done the magic roundabout in Swindon
So
before.
if you can do the magic roundabout, you can do that one.
Yeah,
so
well, I got it, according to the comments, I got it very wrong a few times, but never caused anyone a problem just from, you know, staying staggered, not going when anyone else
Very
is,
good.
don't stay alongside, don't under or overtake.
Yeah, very good. And I noticed that you did that with the Toyota Hilux there as well on the roundabout. You just said, yeah, go on, just stay in front of me.
Yeah.
Perfect, really good.
The main thing we work on now is getting me to brake much sooner.
In a nutshell, if you arrive in quicker, you've got a tiny little length in time to come off the brake, and then if you come off the brake a little late, you're too slow, and if you come off the brake early, you're a little fast. But if you slow a little earlier, that length in time increases and you're more than likely to get the decision a little bit more accurate, okay?
Yeah.
So do you notice I'm moving your braking away from the junction a bit?
Yeah.
And as you're coming up to that decision time, do you notice what I'm getting you to do with your brake is relax it?
To get the car to keep crawling.
I'll go round in a second. We're heading around to the right again.
Okay.
So brake a little more, relaxing the pressure. Because then if you're able to go, you're already coming off the brake, and that transition to going to going's a little bit better. It may also help that jerkiness in the transmission because it's giving it time to have that other gear ready. Do the same with junctions as well. So brake a little bit more here and now lessen and fuck it, flow, excuse my French. So you can flow through a little sooner once you've worked it all out to be safer. And it's just a better, nicer, smoother way to drive.
This was the integral piece of training that I needed to smooth out my auto driving. Since I've been more conscious of braking lightly from further away, the transmission has been a lot more forgiving with me. And while this has made me a very smooth driver again, I found that in extremely slow crawling rush hour traffic that the Volvo behaves very oddly and jolts much worse than in any other situation. Even without any accelerator input, simply removing your foot from the brake to initiate it to crawl becomes horrifically jolty. This is something I'm still trying to figure out how to prevent, so if anyone has any advice, please do let me know in the comments. So far, however, the best piece of advice I've found was someone on Reddit who said to tap some revs on just before changing from neutral to drive. As you can see from this clip, it significantly reduced how violently it had started jolting that afternoon.
Light turn, little bit of revs. Into drive, back level. Did I just do it? Did I just figure it out?
Anyway, back to Liverpool for the rest of my lesson with Ashley.
So let's give Ryan some abuse and start beeping him and tailgating him. No, he's a good lad, Ryan. Yeah. Just park it on the left, mate.
Okay.
That's good timing. Because that's shut down. Is that real cactus?
It is, yeah, it's alive. I've been growing that for like 3 years, I think. Maybe longer.
Like that.
Here was another embarrassing moment for me. Forgetting to do a blind spot check before pulling off, in front of a driving instructor. Whew. That's going in the end of year video.
Just goes, yeah, hold my beer, I'll just do it whatever weather. Just a little bit as well, mate. I know you've got blind spot warning systems on the Volvo. Little shoulder checks before you go. So
Of course, yeah.
you look. I don't know whether it's just me, but we seem to have had less gearbox clunkiness since we've been doing the braking a little differently as well.
It might be that the car likes it. Possibly.
Could be. Could be.
The next thing Ashley wanted to tune up about my driving is recognising and taking gaps while still keeping up with traffic.
Is this a merging turn up here?
Yeah, great, well done. So this is all about speed. Good. Is he battling?
No.
Settle. Done. So you can do that same skill as well of squeeze and then relax once you realise problem solved or you're coming up to that 30 limit or whatever limit you're at.
Yeah.
So try and just add that into your drive now as well.
This Renault's going to fight to be in front, I know that.
Possibly. Well done for reading.
Plus they support Everton.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Oh, they got an Everton.
Yeah,
I didn't see it. It's behind the A pillar. Yeah. What's wrong with supporting Everton? You're going to ostracise.
I thought you were Liverpool.
I am, but everyone's gonna hate it in my comment section now.
No, boy.
We don't mention that, you know.
I support Hull City anyway.
Keep up.
My life's very depressing.
Keep up. Good, settle. And that's another little level that you can try and push yourself to now.
I always thought I was good at being staggered and finding gaps. There's always the ceiling with driving is infinite.
Yes. I tell you what, it's a talky motor as well, by the way. Yeah. It's
It's got some noise to it.
Yeah, cool. There's a nice little design. Looked like scratches when I first got in, but it's not. A bit shaky footage actually. It's because
It's a road surface.
No, it's not. It's because Charles is going around corners on 2 wheels again. But it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming over, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
Don't forget to go and check out Ashley's video of this drive out for everything else you've missed. And if you like this video, please give it a like, give me a sub, give it a hype, leave a comment, and have a browse of the links in my description.
Keep safe, everyone. We'll see you all soon.